Hello future tech leaders, I'm Sindhuja. Based on my own experience, I know that learning the right skills can shape our future. What if I say learning was as thrilled as the tech world itself? There we go. A cloud foundation, that's exactly what you will experience. From day one, you will be immersed in the interactive sessions and expert-led courses that covers most of the widely used technologies in the zone of data science to cloud computing, which brings more light to the life of a techie. I'm so excited to help you and unlock the true potential of a technology. Well, then why to wait? Let's see what it unfolds.
Today we will be checking upon error handling. If I take this, since we are doing, check on salary and everything, let's instead of this 85,000. Whenever my source application is sending data, somehow instead of the actual salary, it came up as some random something like this, special characters or something, some incorrect data entry. Now, without any error handling mechanism, if I run my integration, let's see what will happen. It will, throw error like this, breaking your integration for the first row itself, even if supposedly just we have put 5 records in it. Just because the first one failed, the other 5 also did not get processed. Now that becomes a headache for you. Next time again you will have 10 records, 20 records. This will keep piling up. You want at least, like other records to be processed, that it doesn't become a pile and at least only the error record stays out. Rest all can get processed. In that case, we use try-catch mechanism. Basically, we simply try to capture the error and throw it down the catch path where we process it for error handling. What we can do is immediately after our start ship. Since this is a message ship where it is our data start point, immediately after it we will use a try catch that if any error occurs, starting from this split until map conversion and everything, if any point of failure occurs, it will try to capture it all error for any of these 3 ships and it will send it here down to the catch path. Now you can set up retries on it. It too will be in sequential incremental time, like the first retry would be immediately, second retry with 10 seconds wait time. Third retry would be after 30 seconds, fourth after 60 seconds and like it goes up until like 120 seconds in total. Reason we have the sequential one is in case of when you are using connectors. In actual now this is just temporary hold. Here with the message ship you have downtime or the connection. It's a little busy over there. Different applications behave differently. If there is a downtime or your connection request is in queue. That with retreat is waiting up for few seconds and immediately when it retrieves your request is successful after like few seconds or something like that. That is the use case of this retreat count with the increment one. Failure trigger is you can capture either document level errors or errors. Document level errors would be anything related to data occurring in these regular ships. All errors would be capturing technical errors also about Boomi, or even about what would you say, your connectors. You capture both business level document errors and technical level connection network errors as well in all errors. Now for simple understanding, let's connect it like this. Let's see what happens. Looks like it got completed. It faced issue for the first work. Error passing this and it threw whole thing, here. Reason it did that, because split did not occur. It treated the whole document as just one single file, CSV file. Now let's do this simply. We don't want the whole document to be rejected. We just want our individual failed record to be rejected. Rest all should still get processed. What we will do is we will just place it after split ship. Let's do it. It allowed, rest all of your ships and everything to get processed and all other records are processed properly. Any questions on this basic use case? We try and one more thing, Rishi, because we are failing and I know we are having some loggers we were using earlier. But if in case we are not implementing, do we have any kind of a default logging where we can just try and see all consolidated logs at one place that we can try to debug the things? Is it the same place which is showing in below the logs thing? You are talking about consolidated logs of everything. Correct? Consolidated, correct. There is still time for that. We haven't deployed our integration yet. Once we deploy, we will be able to see our logs here in process reporting. Here we'll see all our executions and it will be like a consolidated log, a detailed log. Because like now, you are having understanding and you understood that this was taking as an whole CSSV as a single record or something we need to split it. I mean something like this. No, for that also, you can never go by full logs. That it is a use case of this individual, like UI test mode, to check at each shape and try to figure out, basically to understand it, which shape it broke. Had it been a consolidated log, it would have become very difficult to figure that out. Even with like experience, only after experience. That comes in handy, but even we do get stuck sometimes that way. That is why we always then come back to UI. We take the data from there and we run it like this and then try to figure out at which shape it broke. How was the data for the previous shape coming at it and what is the configuration of profile? We check all that information. Thank you. Now let's see if we can customize the error message. Business rule offers this option. You know to have an error message. If for other shapes we need to define it separately, but in this business rule, it allows you to create one inside itself. Let's see if we can create one successfully. Let's see if this works. Again, this insert value drop down. It will only work for fields which we have added here. And point to notice, suppose you're adding job title as well. It is not mandatory for whatever fields you add to be part of the conditional logic. These checks, you can simply add it just for error message also. Let's change this. It's add name. Salary of John is 70K, which is less than 70K. We can say let's see if this works. Oh, what we'll have to do? Let's figure it out. Let's see if the error shows up directly or how we can customize it for our logs. Let's see that. It failed. I'm not seeing the error message. Now let's check at the catch shape. What shows up here? Only the failed record showed up, but we did not see our error message here yet. Our business doesn't need all this information again, for their operations team or something. They just need a notification about what error happened or something like that. And even in our logs, we don't want the whole document. What we will do is we'll add a notify shape, switch it to error. In the variables, let's see if we can get the property of it. Let me explain this also. Just stay focused with it. I was explaining to you about these properties. Type of property, document property, dynamic document property, dynamic process property, process property. I told document property, we primarily use it with connectors to, configure, like get that information about the connections which you can modify later. Something like that, grids or host, URL, all that. Similarly, there is option of metadata. Metadata is information about shapes. It allows you to capture the messages or whatever action is happening in a chip, the errors related to it. Let's see if we select business rule, result message. First, we'll start with try catch message. If it's able to capture it or not. Let's see that. Now there is another field, this title, which I'll explain later, but essentially title is whatever name you give here in your log line. You will see it like that in the main log. We'll not touch it for now. We'll see it later when we are doing a proper logging and everything. For now, we just want to see what happens here. Is it able to bring this information or not? It got this information. Again, it captured the same, essentially just about failure, try catch message. Now I know, like, my business rule failed. Let's just restrict my notify shape only to business rather than generic one. Let's see what happens now. It did not print us anything. It captured the error record, but it is not showing us anything. Now, let's tweak this a little. Instead of notify shape, Let's move this here. Let's not use this for now. I'll explain it. There is another shape, exception shape, which essentially captures the error that are occurring. We'll come back at the notify a little later. It would bring in like too much of nested information for now. I'll explain that a little later. Let's say capture error. We'll say failure behavior is to allow it to continue executing other documents. If I just say document property, let's say if this works. Let's see if it's able to capture this exception, basically failure, and throw it down the catch path. No, it did not. Why did this not happen? Now, let's do one thing. Let's remove this entirely from here and let's see if this works. I'll not explain directly how to do it. We'll just give it, trial and error method to see how it is behaving in each case when you are doing your integration designs. Initially, let's see if it's able to capture anything. No, it did not. It still captures it like this error occurred, but we studied this. Message shape is used to print out any information like that kind of thing. Let's bring a message shape here in this sketch and see if we are able to print that information. Let's cancel this. Let's come back at notify shape only. That will be a little easier now. I'll come back here. I'll just type capture error. Message level, I'll leave this for now. Let's just see if it works now. Let's remove this since it did not give us, the results which we required. We'll not utilize it unnecessarily. Let's see if at my notify shape, I'm able to see the required information or not. Looks like it did not print here yet, but it was able to capture the error for us. Now, in such a scenarios, what you can do is you bring a message shape here. You simply do not want to send that whole document which you were seeing here to your business. Yes, you only want a customized error message or something like that. You know why it failed. What you need to do is take this, add first your variable. You will select the profile element. The file it's a flat file because the map conversion did not happen. And you will select the element as employee ID because type giving in on names. Names can be common across multiple people. You would say simply something like this. Employee failed as salary is less than 70K. Will not say failed, employee rejected. Let's see if this works or not. This also did not work because when it was trying to extract that information, it was rejected essentially because it only treated it as, again, data extraction. It was expecting a number, but it failed. Let's play around again. Let's see what else we can try. We'll add back, our error message and see if that makes a difference. Let's see if this makes a difference. No, it did not make a difference. No, let's try something else. What we want to do? Let's see. No, that did not work still, even after fixing it out. This also did not return us what we wanted. What if I did? I went back at it. And if I just selected two? Let's remove one. Because it is causing us the error, Let's see this. Now we are getting our exact error message. Here you are able here. We got the record for which it failed. And in our message shape we customized. We were trying to extract the information of our business rule failure. We got the error. Now we have both of this information. You know the exact error message and the document. Both are present here. And now you have all the information that you needed. Now you need to. On top of this, you need to build your custom error message. Both of these information are separate. If you look at this, it only tells you this particular salary value was rejected, but you do not know for which one. If you look at your record position 0, 1 file, row 1, it does. Since we only know there are 5 records, we are able to figure out. But what if there are hundreds of records, thousands, millions, or even select 20, 30, you cannot go in. It's not readable for everyone. We'll have to extract the information. Combine this error information, combining it with the information about like which employee ID at least or employee name ID. All this kind of information give out some meaningful message. We'll work on that. Now we need to build our error message customized one for sending in mail notifications, mail alerts like that. Let's use set properties, dynamic document properties. As I said, that is used at document level. Let's see if we are able to extract out the employee ID. We go here parameter value profile element. We choose flat file. Use employee ID. Let's see if we are able to print that as well. We go to document property. We switch it to dynamic document property. We pass it like this. Let's just see if we are able to capture the information or not. First, or we need to place this set property somewhere else. It did not work. Let's relocate this. Let's move it here. And see if this makes a difference for us. You know, this also did not work. Let me remove this then, since this is not working as well. What else I can do? Let me switch it up. Let's see what else we can pull out. Let's see if we are able to extract it this way. Let's see if this works. It's still causing it to fail. What if I do that here? Let's remove because this is not able to capture it. Now it did not work because this information got changed here. Because once we extracted in a message, it changed the data. It did not capture it. It shows it null here. But if we look at this shape, we are getting information here. Now, how can we extract this again? We tried many approaches. We haven't tried everything yet. Now let's remove this again. Let's see if we can use a map shape. Here, let's put the action that we are doing. Instead, let's put it in a map shape and see if we can make that work. Let's create a new map. Let's name it as Error Handling. Let's choose our flat file here. See if we can capture it this way. And let's create another flat file. First one, we will name it as MMPID. Second one, we will name it as error message. Let's say, since it's a flat file, we'll just say error. Now let us see if we are able to extract information this way. We'll go here. We will say get document property. We'll click on this icon. We'll change it to metadata. We'll say try catch message. Now let's see if this works. It did not work. It still failed. It is not useful. Let's go around back. Try to play with the message shape only. See if we can get it to work. Just give me a moment. Let's continue. Let's try switching this up and see if we are able to capture this. Now correctly or not? We switched it from to document errors. Will not focus on trying to capture technical errors because there is no technical connection. All we'll do is try to capture, just this basic information. Let's see if it works now. We'll go back again. We'll add a profile element. We'll say flat file CSV. Let's see if it works now. It's still through error for us. Looks like some kind of bug. Let me check this later. Otherwise, this is how we capture it usually. I'll come back on this by tomorrow. I'll just reach out to Boomi and ask why this is failing. Otherwise, this is how we usually capture our errors. This should have worked ideally by now. When we have just restricted it to document errors and print out information like this. Now let's move to next part of all this. For now, temporarily, I'll just remove this. I'll just leave it like this. We will look at deployment. There are two parts to deployment. Let's look at it. I'll explain it from here. You have all these components, individual units. First, you need to combine all of this, put them in a single box and create like package your whole, all these components together. Then you will be able to deploy that package. Previously, it was not called all this. It was very straightforward, but now they have renamed it to like this. Now what I'll do is I'll click on this icon always. Create package component. It has selected my process. You can either use your versioning number for your own, or you can use a default one. You can just pass some notes. That later stages you can identify things easily. Now our package is successfully created. We have our box. Now we can deploy it. We click on deploy. We choose our environment. We can say initial test deployment. Selected version 1. We click on view details. It will have information. Next review. It will tell me previously deployed version. If it's a duplicate or not and currently selected version, and then I click on deploy, it will deploy my process. If I view deploy bits, you will see the integration here. Just to explain, from here itself I can deploy to different environment. The same process, when you do higher level environment promotion to QA stage and production, you always do it from here, from deployment page. In case you try to make a change after deployment, it did not work, you can roll back. Since we do not have a previous version to roll back to, we'll have to simply undeploy. Otherwise, if suppose this was a second revision that we had deployed, we would have had option to roll back to the first revision. Then again undeploy. Undeploy is basically it will undeploy your integration. Simply would. Deployment history will show you about all the previous deployments. Just audit trail. And suppose there are some processes your teammate created, or some other team also created but they locked it out. What you can do is you can copy to Component Explorer. It will copy all of this information. I'll just use some. Here I'll give a name. Deploy copy demo. If I go back to my build, here I'll be able to see it copied, this one. Process. If it is some other teammates or something you want to check in UI, this is how you can do it. By copying their deployment. If you access secret, you just want to play around with their integration but do not want to touch it. Does this make sense? Any questions on the deployment part far? One thing. We were discussing that we can promote the same build or same integration to the other environment as well. I'm just trying to see. No, we are not integrating anything with respect to the database. But suppose if in case we have some databases which are having different credentials for altogether a different environment. How we can consider or configure those configurations in that application. Let's create another environment. Let's say we have another one. SQ environment. Another environment is prod, essentially for our applications that will be moving. Now we have 3 environments. If I go to my deployment, I will be able to choose if I want to promote it to UI or production. Let's just say I'm moving it to prod. I'll review. I'll quickly click on deploy. Now my integration is deployed both in two different environments, dev and prod. If I go to my atom management, from here, and once we have the database connected to our process, and we have all the extensions enabled. From the connection settings, I will select my database connection here. Enter the credits for the production part. That is how you will be able to configure it for this. Does it make sense? That way, you will be able to do that. My integration is deployed to dev. But we did not configure any properties or we did not enable these extensions for it. We are not seeing this option yet. But still I can come to my server, see the deploy integration, and execute. Under deploy process in runtime settings, I'll come. This would be our environment. If I click on testdb, deploy process, I'll come here. I can either execute it, set up schedules, edit process properties. All this, we'll look at these 3 later. Simply, let's test run and see what happens. Process execution message has been sent. Let's go to process reporting. If your process is running currently, it will show up as running. Let's see. Looks like it completed quickly. But since there was no output connector, which was just a simple map, shape, and everything, we do not see any output here. One simple way to see the logs for it is clicking here. By simply clicking this icon, you can always see your logs. I think one of you was asking about this. Seen the consolidated logs. This is about the consolidated logs. It started with the main process. Start shape. Then it came the CSV employee data. That is our message shape. Then we had the split shape. Then the try catch block started. Then we got our business rule. Then we got our map. And then it was a stop. Then again it came down. Catch path to capture the error. And everything. See, this is where the naming convention and everything comes in handy. If you have not named your shapes correctly, you will not be able to determine what is happening. If I just see CSV to XML convention, I would not know. But if I read this with this map CSV to MMP XML, I am able to figure out this is a map. That is about this. Then similarly, if I just say check salary, I would get some idea. It is either a decision shape or business rule. But I would still need to specify that information as well. That when you are going through your logs, all this information becomes handy. Now let's click here and view it from here. View process logs. Again, if you change your status like severity of log, you will see more information if you click on debug. Since this is a very basic process, we did not have much information to extract that way. Let's see what happens in morning. In morning, it will only show you the failed part. Nothing else. Let's do something. Let's save this whole log. Now you can read through it. Similarly, when it's a very big process and everything, it will be like like hundreds of lines, thousands of lines, depending upon that. There you will have slowly come into this, trying to read logs using this information. Basically about trying to figure out, playing around with these numbers. Let's do some basic understanding about it. We started with the start shape. We came to the message shape where we had only one document created. Combined one. Then we came to split. Split resulted in 6 documents as we had 6 employee IDs. Now it is going to play around with these 6 documents. TryCatch started with 6 documents. It initialized it. It came to business tool. It got executed with 6. Now it came to map shape. Map shape executing with 1 document, meaning out of the 6. Had you not looked at UE, just try to check it directly. You will have to figure it out. Understand from this that after business rule, the map shape is present and only 1 document passed. In the reject path. Basically, it was stopped directly, came down 4 documents. Executing stop shape with 4 documents. That is where we give meaningful names and everything. We would know like rejected documents instead of stop shape. We can say that. And across the try-catch came sending 1 document down, error path. 1 plus 4 is 5 plus 1 went to map. All our 6 are accounted for. This way you figure out 6 documents came through which, how many went down which path. You understand it that way. Then your process, they ask you to check how much time it is taking consuming. And you are asked to understand about performance and everything. Again for that, you will only able to do it from these logs, not from UI. If we look at the CSV shape, the message shape, it took it 14 milliseconds. Then your split happened in 22 milliseconds. And then your try catches 53 seconds. Then your business rule, it took 2 to 11 milliseconds to check through salary of each document. But your map conversion was quickest 18 milliseconds. Then similarly again it came back to message a try catch block after failing here. And it took it 55 seconds to send down the milliseconds to send down the catch path, where we had our custom error message. It took it 4 milliseconds over there. This is how you will be able to see this information. Now to get a rough time. You can check the timestamp here. It was at 20. Basically 1 minute 10 seconds. And it was out at 1 minute 11 seconds. It was under 1 minute and 10 seconds. Again, from this external information you can view your execution, ID process, ID item ID and everything. But this all information is handy for later, not for now. Any questions on this far? Do we have any log retention policy applied to on default servers? You mean default logging mechanism? I mean, my point is only that suppose we have been gathering prod, we have some logs. Is there any policy which should be applicable? Or we can see the logs, how much time the logs can retain in the servers for any of the atom. In the initial one, I explained about this account properties. We will hold this information about all this kind of thing. How many days we want our data, history and everything to be purged. Similarly, about our logs, we can add our property. All this information would be here at. Usually your logs are by default up to 30 days. Not more than that. That is maximum. And this retention, like X days, it is specific to logs or anything else comes under this particular retention policy. You can again set it for different things, but this one is specific just to logs basically. This particular property only for logs. The logs that you saw here in process reporting is execution logs. These would be stored by default for 30 days only. From there, you can control all that. But not much customizable like how we have it for the backend applications that we developed. Server level, serverless kind of thing, all those. Because there is complete manual control, here we are, only it's like iPaaS and SaaS kind of thing. We cannot customize it too much. We just have to use the services that are offered out of the box and the customization level they offer. Usually, sometimes what companies do is now they do not want to just check logs of Boomi by logging in into here. They have different applications running on different servers and again some different applications, payroll applications or some external their softwares, whatever they are using those applications. They want a common application for logging where they can see logs for all their systems in a singular place. Just by selecting the application name or something, they want everything to be in a single place. Anyone can just log into that logging application and check it. When building our integration, we can set up one connection where we push the logs to that application, and those application could be something like Datadog, Dynatrace, Splunk, any of those logging applications. You can use that also. Go ahead. Do we have any? I mean the session or something related to integration for those like specifically I'm asking about the Datadog. No, we do not have that specific, but I'll see if we can get a trial account for one of those kind of application and try to connect to it. We'll see. But it was fairly easier in Boomi because all of those applications expose their API, and in Boomi, all you need to configure is their credits and just push the data. It works majorly that way, but we'll try to see if we can get some free trial account for that, and we'll try to play around with that as well. And finally, do not forget to like, share and subscribe to our channel.